Paul Walker learned the hard way that the thing about streetlights is the streetlights always win.
Oh,
this
no.
Oh, gosh, dude.
Spoilers.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come along.
The street lights?
Because he wrecked his Porsche into a streetlight and died. Kylo, that's the joke. I also had
Cool, bro.
Letty hits Hector harder than Paul Walker's Porsche hit that telephone pole. This is spoilers.
Use take two, please.
We can use take two. But hey, everybody.
It's not fun to make fun of family.
This is Pappy, here to review another Fast and Furious movie. We got a lively bunch tonight. It's a Tuesday night recording. Different energy. On a Tuesday night. A little bit of infighting before the podcast started, but we're all a family here, so I'm sure we can put that aside and talk about this movie. Let's go least recent to most recent host, because West to East is stupid. We'll start with you, Brett. Brett, if our pod had our own race wars, who do you think would win? And where are you recording from?
It's Brett recording from Fort Wayne. I mean, I don't know. It wouldn't be me. I'm guessing, stereotypes aside, I want to go with Mikey because he'd come with a NOS.
Is this a race? Or is this minorities versus minorities?
Oh, if it's a race war, I'm
not
I'm
a race
losing.
war. Not a race. A race wars. A very different thing. It's plural.
Were we going cars?
It's up to your interpretation, I guess.
I've already heard Mikey say he'd buy a station wagon and fill it the back with NOS, so he's going to win.
True. All right. Next, and Brett, what did you host on? Three Ninjas? That was your last outing?
Yeah, I think so.
Stevie, what was your last outing?
That's Stevie driving his car.
That's exactly. That's my RAV4 just puttering across the finish line after Mikey's already smoked me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that bad? I feel like I asked Josh something about tuna.
Maybe Maximum Overdrive?
That sounds right. It's been a while.
Because of Australia. Did Brett pick Three Ninjas off of Maximum Overdrive?
No, it doesn't sound right.
Because I feel like I asked something about the Brothers Gibb or AC/DC. I cannot remember.
We just haven't been getting to the movie game as much, but we also did in that time, Stevie, Clifford, and it's with a heavy heart that Charles Grodin passed away today. Any thoughts on now the late Charles Grodin?
Well, I mean, he played one of my favorite uncles in film history, and for that I say thank you. That movie is as critically panned as it is, has stuck with me through my entire life. And the fact that I got to pod on it while he was still alive, and maybe he listened to it, I think is really cool. So, cheers, Charles Grodin, and R.I.P., you're the best.
It was Maximum Overdrive. Man, we did a lot of stuff in between.
Been many, many months, but even longer, Korey, since we did Hedwig and the Angry Inch. I wanted to ask you, now that Big Dumb Movie has officially been accepted into the YouTube Partner Program, how is the channel going to change? Are you going to focus on Minecraft streams and Spider-Man and Elsa videos now? Pivot?
Cats. I'm going with cats.
Yes!
You really
I
can't
love
go
it.
wrong with monetized cat videos with an ad. You know, I love searching YouTube, finding a 10-second cat video that has a mid-roll ad. Like, I love that shit. Cut me off at 4 seconds, give me an ad, then give me the rest.
Korey, can I ask you something?
Yes.
Are you talking about live Cats or Cats the Musical?
Good
How
question.
dare you son of a bitch.
Well, you had me really excited because I thought you would dedicate it to Cats the Musical, not actual cats.
Big Cats, Joe Exotic style. Boom.
Okay.
Big Dumb Cats coming to a YouTube channel near you soon. Josh, I think you're the most recent. I don't even, like, A Serious Man? Has it been that long since you posted?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that's not very recent.
It's been since January. I guess my question for you, Josh, is why do you hate podcasting with me so much? We have a tradition unlike any other, where you and I do A Quiet Place 2, and you took a staunch stance that you would not be potting A Quiet Place 2 this year, and it really hurt my feelings. That was sad.
Well, it hurt my feelings that usually you run the opening spoiler by me, whatever you write, and you didn't this time, and it shows.
Paul Walker learned the hard way that the thing about streetlights is the streetlight always wins. Come on, that's gold.
See, I would have worked with that. We would have tweaked it a bit, but
what would you have done? What would you have done?
All I said was I thought Quiet Place was like kind of an ancillary story that didn't need a part 2, and then we just recently found out it's actually like part prequel or something. So Jim is in it again. I don't know. We'll probably end up doing it, Pap. Don't worry.
There's a pod race.
Pod race war, one might say. But last but not least, the man who Brett declared the winner of Spoilers Race Wars. Mikey, you've been on the Schneid for quite a while now. Has it been since the Mist?
The Rock.
No, not The Rock.
Fifth Element?
No?
The Schneid is nobody's concern except for my own, okay? And I
True.
will take this break as long as I want to, okay?
Oh, yeah, it is The Mist.
Who's to say? Who's to say how long my Schneid has been?
Well, my question for you, Mikey, is the Fast and the Furious franchise has taken us around the world now as a family. I'm curious, if you could go anywhere in the world right now, where would you go? Drop the podcast, you're on a plane. Where are you flying to?
Anywhere in the world. My choice.
Anywhere in the world. You and your White Claws in tow together.
I would go to Martin's Supermarket, where there's always good prices.
Son of a bitch.
Good prices, great service, and
Great
you
chicken
can't go wrong
tenders.
with their great chicken, fried chicken. Just excellent deli service there.
Chocolate ice cream.
That's where I'd go. Pat.
I don't know about great service, Mikey. They have service. I don't know about great.
Come on.
Controversy, Stevie?
I had a bad experience there. I'm sorry. I cannot let that go.
Your service was fine. You just like took umbrage with one man's pride or something. This is a weird story. Just go ahead and say
It's
it,
not
Steve.
a weird story. I have an issue with people that think they're above doing other people's jobs when they have a higher rank. And when you see a cashier person getting swamped, and you like this person, I imagine he knows how to like run a checkout, open up another lane, or help this girl bag. She was scanning things and bagging at the same time, line getting backed up, and he was just standing against the wall just whistling. I can't stand for that.
I think the real question is, did you say cashier?
Sure.
Cashier.
He did.
What's
like
wrong
a
with that?
concierge.
That's the Indiana pronunciation, Brett.
No,
Where
that's
you
that
from?
nobody. That's like the French person.
The cashier.
Hey, Stevie, that guy worked hard to not have to bag anymore.
No, when you have a higher title, it's your job. Like other people, I mean, ugh.
Yeah.
I
Dude,
can't.
he's
joking,
making
man. I know.
10 times as much as anybody bagging. He doesn't need to dirty his hands with our disgusting groceries anymore. He's high class.
He should be able to lead. I don't care if he has to sweep for 5 minutes or mop like a broken bottle. It's his job to lead.
Could have been against COVID protocol for him to go over there.
No, I think he was just a lazy bastard that wanted to ruin my day, and I'll leave it at that.
See, this is why Martin's would be a great partnership with us, because we're going to give it to him straight.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we don't have the AdSense money like Big Dumb Movie has on YouTube, but now we don't have the Martin Supermarket sponsorship anymore, so we
still got
Yikes.
Jack's. Jack's Pizza is out there.
Jack's
Still-
Pizza and the Patreons. That's the only thing keeping this ship afloat. But like I said, we're here to talk about Furious 7. Josh, I guess, did you think my spoiler was in bad taste? Are we not allowed to make fun of dead Paul Walker on this podcast?
Jesus.
I just really like Paul Walker.
Not after this movie.
Yeah, man, one death is a tragedy. Even Stalin believed that. You're like worse than Stalin right now.
True.
Speaking of his death, honest question. Is there some controversy as to how that happened? Like, do some people think his car was hacked or something?
Brett, do you know this? Wasn't it something with, like, there was a legal action with the car, too, or something, if I remember?
I just thought he was going like 120.
Was he driving or was his friend driving?
I think he was driving. I think I don't know if you're getting it mixed up with Ryan Dunn or not, but I get
That
those
might
mixed up
be.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Ryan Dunn was just drunk.
Paul Walker was sober,
Rest
though,
in peace.
right? He was just driving
I think so.
too fast, yeah. And this was like halfway through the production. Brett, do you have any context beyond that video that you sent in terms of the fill-in of the performance? I had no idea that was...
Yeah, I mean, I was doing a little bit of research. Yeah, it was about halfway done. They debated whether they wanted to scrap the whole movie. Jordana Brewster did not film any of her scenes until the end of the movie because she had another thing she was doing. So he was already dead by then. So every scene with her is either CGI, a deleted scene from a different movie, or body doubles like we saw in the video I sent. So it's just, yeah, I mean, they had to use body doubles. The one guy who played, he was kind of the he was Kurt Russell's kind of second in command. He was actually a body double as well.
Basic white
and
dude.
Then, yeah, pretty much. Kramer, I don't remember his name, but and then Paul Walker's two brothers, which neither one of them, I mean, they both look like Paul Walker, but like you put them together and they look exactly like Paul Walker. So I think, like I read, they used a Mikey word, rotoscope. They rotoscoped everything.
Am I imagining some Berenstain Bears situation? I thought we were told it was only the last scene where they
That's
raced
what I
off.
thought.
No, there was a lot of
I've
scenes.
always believed it was the last scene.
That's the Mandela effect, right?
I think there was like some special or some commercial that came out. I think in the marketing, maybe that scene. Like, Korey, can you remember? Is there a reason why we all thought that scene was the scene?
A lot of that scene was in the music video that came out around the time the movie released. But I remember the big hype for this movie. Like, there was a lot of hype that I remember, and then I was participating in. And, I think it was pretty common knowledge in that group that, a lot of Paul Walker's stuff was CGI'd in. And I think they even corrected it later after the theatrical, because what I saw looked a lot better than what I saw in theaters.
But I mean, speaking of hype, this was the fastest movie to get to
Was
$1
it the
billion.
most furious, though?
The most furious movie to get to $1 billion ever. Kylo, it's been a year since we've discussed any of these movies. Everyone else quit on the franchise. I'm still here with us. Could you give us some recap of the lore of the previous 6 movies? You did a really great job on Fast and Furious. Maybe not even getting that in depth, but just to set the stage. It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm going to go through it a little bit. I'm going to go chronologically, okay? All right. 1, The Fast and the Furious. It's Point Break. You know Point Break.
Oh, yeah.
2, Too Fast, Too Furious. This is the one where Pappy had the epic rant, which is way more memorable than the movie itself. Garbage film. After that, things get kind of confusing with like the numbering and the naming. The next one was Fast and Furious, chronologically. They dropped the thes. Let's see, Letty Dies, and this is the one where we learn that Vin Diesel can recreate a crime scene with nothing but tire tracks, like a big old muscly Sherlock Holmes. Fast 5, that's a really good one. I believe that was preserved in spoilers history. Heist movie, this is where the family, the team, they get rich, but become like even more wanted criminals than they were in the previous movies. That's the one where they have to thwart both The Rock, who's Agent Hobbs, and the Mexican cartel, which they do successfully. The last one, Fast and Furious 6, this seems to be the one that I think a lot of people have a hard time remembering.
Couldn't tell you a thing about it.
It's chaotic, so I'm going to run through some of it. This is the one with the long airplane runway scene, if that rings any bells. So our heroes, the family, they're fugitives in that one. They're enlisted by Hobbs to stop Owen Shaw, who's like the first kind of comic book supervillain of the franchise. He has a team of his own, so in this case, like the family has kind of met their match. But here's the bullet points. Lots of explosions. Letty, not actually dead. She has amnesia. We got the big runway action set piece. Wonder Woman dies. And then Owen Shaw, the villain of the movie, seemingly also dies at the end. The last one, chronologically speaking, is actually Tokyo Drift.
Let's go.
90 minutes of pure cringe, and then Han dies.
Stevie, your favorite of the franchise, Tokyo
Yes. I remember everything about that movie. There's no blur. Like, there's no, like, was this in that one? Was this in that one? That's the most original one they've ever done.
Speaking of family, Brett, I know Snatch is a big movie in your family, starring Jason Statham. How do you feel about Deckard Shaw. He made an appearance, I believe, at the end of 6 as like a cameo, mid-credits, post-credits scene, but he's here in a big way in this movie. How do you feel about his character?
I mean, I hate seeing him as a bad guy, but I thought he was awesome, and he was one of my favorite parts of the movie. I kept thinking about, I know he's in the other one, so I kept thinking of how he's going to make it out of this, and how is he going to, like, eventually kind of join the team or whatever happens, because he's, like, a really bad dude. But, yeah, I thought he was great.
He's got a good intro, right?
Yeah.
They say if you want to glimpse the future, just look behind you. I used to think that was bollocks. Now I realize. You can't outrun the past.
Really good in the hospital. Like, he kills all these people. And it's cool seeing the doctor and nurse, like, cringing and cowering in the back corner. It's pretty cool.
Stevie, did you like the intro of Deckard Shaw? You can't outrun the past, Stevie.
You can't outrun the past, but I mean, I'll have to admit, as much as I hate this movie, I did like the pullback of him like being in the hospital, and there's a great pullback of just like pure chaos everywhere around him. There's dead bodies everywhere. I did like that introduction. I'll give you that.
Short intro, and now we have to sort of establish where our heroes stand. Josh, how much did you miss the race wars?
How much did I miss it? I created it. I don't know. Not that much. This is where, like, this movie touches base in, like, the car world, like its roots, I guess. And if you want me to describe those roots are a lot of bikinis, thongs in slow motion, people getting hyped up and horny for cars, man. And in this particular scene, Letty is racing, and like Vin Diesel gives her some sort of advice. I don't really understand it. Something about RPMs.
He takes her to therapy, okay?
She wins
it's
the
his
race.
Brand of therapy.
She wins the race, but doesn't follow his advice. So that seems to be like a breaking point, and she kind of like takes off for the cemetery.
I thought she did follow his advice.
She went a little bit over the 9,000 RPMs.
The best way to introduce a coma victim back into society is to overwhelm their senses and put them behind the wheel of an extremely fast car. Okay?
That's how Hectors get
Surround them with people who will recognize them who they don't recognize and just hope for the best. Yeah.
She has amnesia still. I guess my question for the group is amnesia real?
I mean...
Not in this movie, it isn't.
I don't remember.
There's a little bit of selective memory loss going on.
I mean, whenever I hear about amnesia, it's always in a movie like this, right? It's always like, oh, they have amnesia. They don't remember anything. But I've never met anyone with amnesia. You know, you ever like meet someone, you're like, hey, where you from? Like, oh, I got amnesia. Don't know.
Well, I don't think they'd know they have amnesia.
Oh, okay.
Just like a crazy person doesn't know they're crazy.
I think it's super duper rare, but it has happened to people. But for me, in my canon, Letty is taking this opportunity to be like Vin Diesel's cool, but The Rock is right over there. Like, is this my chance to make a pass at old Dwayne?
I think if you consult is it the DMS? Is that the medical textbook or whatever it is? The medical reference guide, that amnesia is real, and the only cure is to deny your husband CPR, and that seems to snap everyone.
Yeah, Brittany said if she's ever like dead or dying, to bring her back with love instead of CPR, and I said, you got it. She literally said that to me, so...
Speaking of love, Paul Walker, Mikey, is now in a loving suburban relationship. What's going on with him and Mia?
He hates being a dad. He wants nothing to do with his child or his wife. He's grown bored of his suburban life. He craves bullets now. He lives for the adrenaline rush. And so he can't wait to get back to work with Dom.
Doesn't miss the women. Doesn't miss the cars. He misses the bullets.
Ryan, and admitted that things have changed. He's struggling, Dom. He doesn't want me to see it, but the white picket fence is like an anchor on him, I can tell. I tried to talk to him the other night. You know what he said? He doesn't miss the girls, he doesn't miss the cars, he misses the bullets.
Let him settle in. Give him time.
How does 9 months sound?
What a fucking badass.
He's dead inside. He's got, I don't know, I don't even think he has a job. He's just a stay-at-home dad, I guess. He's just driving his kid around.
They're all millionaires.
Are they outlaws at this point, or were they exonerated at the end of 6?
They're always trying to get their name cleared at the end of each movie, besides this one.
Is this movie's way of kind of sort of tackling like a PTSD, like, you know, when people come back from Iraq, like they miss the action or something? Am I reading too into it?
I think you're reading way too much into that, Josh.
If so, then it's pretty insensitive that he's just casually like, yeah, I want bullets. Like, what the hell are you talking about, man?
Yeah, this was a commentary on soldiers coming back from the Iraq War, and the drones were a commentary on the escalation of drone warfare during the Obama administration. It's all deeply, deeply symbolic.
I like that.
Who made who?
Yeah, not the right movie for that.
Stevie, your boy, The Rock, from Miami, the University of Miami. What's he up to other than calling his underlings woman at any opportunity that he gets?
I'll stay as long as I want, woman.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's like, I have a lot of movie rules, but like The Rock should be performing the rock bottom in every single movie he's in. I know he did it in The Rundown. Did he do it in the other Fast movies that he's been in?
He did it in this one.
He did it in.
Well, obviously
this
he
one.
did it in this one.
I think this is the only one that I know of.
If he's not doing the People's Elbow, then get out of here. I mean, that's what we really need.
Okay, People's Elbow was amazing. Rock bottom. Growing up, like watching wrestling in the Attitude Era, like I would always get super hyped when The Rock would be like getting his ass kicked for 98% of the match. Then all of a sudden, like The Rock magic would just come out, and he would start rock bottoming and People's Elbowing everybody, and the crowd would just lose it. He's pretty reserved in this movie. He's kind of just reserved for intel and sitting in a hospital bed and explaining exposition.
It's really reserved when he flexes and his cast breaks off. His broken arm.
I mean,
Daddy's got to go to work.
Daddy's got to go to work.
That fucking cast, just an inconvenience, you know? Just flex it right off.
I mean, quite frankly, I was kind of bummed he was reserved to hospital bed intel for 90% of this movie, but yeah, he's an exposition guy.
That's an odd choice, isn't it?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of odd choices in this movie. Quite frankly, I wish that Paul Walker just would have died on screen and he had... No, I'm sorry, or off screen. I wish he would have died off screen. And then the exposition we get from The Rock was he had a long-lost brother, and we just introduce him into the fold like he's family. I think that would have cleared up a lot of issues for me.
Pulling the beer fest?
Yes, exactly. Pulling the beer fest. It's like, yeah, you're different, but we're going to accept you anyway. It would have taken 3 minutes.
Think about how much less production they'd have to do with all those rotoscoping.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just introduce long-lost brother.
Dad, what's going on?
Daddy's got to go to work.
Kyla, we were talking pre-pod about how we've had a director shift in the franchise. Do you notice anything in sort of these fight sequences, particularly this first one with Jason Statham and The Rock? I wasn't a fan of like the big rotating camera movements that happen many, many times throughout the action sequences.
That is not my favorite thing to see in action scenes like this. However, it's not as disorienting as it could be, right? I'm still able to basically follow along with what's happening, which is good. I don't get lost in it like I would in a maybe a all CGI character fight in a lesser movie. Transformers always comes to mind. So the fight scenes aren't exactly the Raid in these Fast and Furious movies, but they're okay, I think. They're pretty good, actually. I'd say they're
You think
good.
so?
Yeah.
Huh.
What do you think, Stevie?
I think these fight scenes were like cooking ribs in the microwave. It's like, yeah, like it'll get it done, but it's not very good. And there's 1,000 like better ways to do it. I wasn't a fan of punch being thrown, cut, kick being thrown, cut. Someone gets bumped into a wall, we're going to cut again. Like, the constant cutting is insane. Like, I don't mind it in the car scenes because it's almost necessary and it's a really good way to tell a story of what's going on. But if you're going to do like one throwaway fight scene, cool. I guess you can get away with just cutting. It's almost like Liam Neeson jumping over a gate half this movie.
Well, you know they have to cut so that the person could say, all right, now it's my turn. Contractually, I get to throw
I think there's 1,000 different like better ways to block this movie and how they go about their fights, but cutting after every single blow is extremely disorienting for me.
I don't mind the cutting inside of the fight sequences as much as I don't like it. There's like 3 or 4 action sequences that all have Phantom Menace syndrome, right? Where we have 5 different people on 5 different mini quests. None of them are that compelling, but every time one of them gets good, we cut to another one. It's very frustrating. Like that's what really annoyed me.
Well, I just think the camera work in general, it's almost like too hectic. I think when The Rock does the rock bottom, the camera actually does a complete 360. Am I right? Like, there's a lot of twisting and flipping. But what really got me was they do the typical scenics that every fast movie does. Like, we're in Miami now. We're in Abu Dhabi now. Wherever. The huge wide, like, drone shots or helicopter shots. But this movie would not stop, like, ramping the speed. Like, whoo, whoo, whoo. It was just, I don't know. It made me, like, in my own work, want to never do a speed ramp again. It just seemed tasteless up to a point. It would, like, dial it way back or something. Like, the speed... Never mind. I don't want to be misogynistic, but the previous ones used speed, like time, to slow down, like, booty thong shots. This one was using speed to basically, like, get past shots and stuff, and I didn't like it.
So you prefer the slowed down booty thong shots, is what you're saying?
No, that's just how the previous ones used time.
Mm-hmm. But which do you...
if you had to pick.
Yeah, which do you prefer, though?
We know.
I'll bail you out of that one. I'll say, Josh, I am curious, as the man with, I think, the most children that we know of on this podcast, how would you feel if your wife told Dominic Toretto that she was pregnant before she told you?
2 movies in a row she's pulling this stuff. I'd be ticked.
Right.
It's like, you just did this last movie, Teresa. Don't lie to me again for a whole movie. I don't know. That's like a really weird thing in this movie. I don't know. I tried to, like, not think too much about their relationship, possibly because I knew that they were going to have, like, a big emotional pull at the end of this movie, and I don't know. Even though I made fun of your joke earlier, I was trying to, like, stay away from being emotionally invested in, like, I don't know. If you think too much about the Paul Walker thing and that all these people were friends, it's actually kind of sad, man.
Maybe he didn't tell Paul Walker in this movie because he was dead and they wanted to limit their interactions. I mean,
well, do you have a sense, Brett, of what the original script would have entailed for Paul Walker? Because there's clearly this whole, like, setup of he needs to return to his family, right? Like, that's, like, underlying, maybe not well fleshed out and executed, but was that the original story as you know it? Or?
I can't imagine. I mean, Paul Walker was kind of his fame had kind of passed him by a little bit, I guess. So this is like a money train for all these guys. I can't imagine he was going to sideline. I don't know, but I guess his girl wasn't part of it. I don't know. I really don't know. Everything I learned about this movie, I learned about tonight. So
I feel like it was kind of almost like a passing of the torch because now The Rock is, like, pretty much established in this movie and Jason Statham is now pretty much established in this movie and they're just kicking so much more ass than Dom is. And Paul Walker is trying. It's not nearly as exciting as watching The Rock or even Dom, but he's like, I don't know. I still
enjoy watching him.
Yeah, he's still good, but I don't know. It's just so much different after they introduce these extra characters like The Rock and Jason Statham, like who are legitimate action stars and actually doing crazier stuff.
Is that why it was so shocking when they like pulled the back off that trailer in their like first heist, that like Paul Walker was the one they chose to jump in there and start kicking people's ass?
That's his signature move, okay? is ghost riding his whip and then jumping into another car. That's his signature move.
Yeah, how often is he like standing on the hood of a car while it's moving, like crouched? A lot.
But Dom's the one you want in there kicking some ass, right?
They don't kill us. They're the best drivers in the world.
Some of you guys, Stevie, are you familiar with the Asian guy? Like, you watch any of his movies, Tony Fa or whatever?
Tony Jaa?
Jaa, yeah.
Yeah, do The Protector, man. It's amazing.
Okay. I saw his thing and I'm like, oh, he seems pretty famous, but I don't know any of.
Yeah, like the, I forget how to pronounce it. It's like the Ombak series.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're absolutely incredible. And that dude is the real deal.
So we're talking about the heist scene. What's the pretense for getting there? Do you like the God's Eye cyborg stuff, Mikey? Are you into that subplot?
I feel like they're still like always trying to find some sort of weird technology that doesn't really exist to just hand over to somebody else in the series. It doesn't matter whatever they're chasing.
Kyla, for those of us who aren't indoctrinated, could you explain what Kurt Russell's role is from here on out, and what does the God's Eye do?
Kurt Russell is Mr. Nobody. That's his name.
I know.
Much like Jared Leto in the movie Mr. Nobody. He's like vague government guy, right? So he's clearly like the guy in charge of some government agency. If they said who, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. He's the guy that's like their military government contact that's supplying them with everything they need to do the job. The God's Eye thing, it's pretty James Bondy, or Dark Knighty, I guess, in this case. It's some piece of technology that allows whoever has it to be able to like tap into all cameras and microphones in the world, full stop. Like you can just get into anything, so you can really track anyone down.
It's like that Shia LaBeouf movie.
Eagle Eye?
Eagle Eye?
Yeah.
Holes?
Holes.
Basically, Mr. Nobody, who's Kurt Russell, he says, you and your team, you get God's Eye for us, the U.S. government. We'll let you use it to find Shaw, because Shaw is like coming after them. He is like not happy about his brother getting fucking wrecked in the last movie. He killed Han. You know, he tried to kill Dom, blew his house up. So it's a revenge story on that end.
The thing about using it to find Shaw is like Shaw has found them like every 5 minutes in this movie. Just wait around and he'll find you, and then you can just fight him to death.
Yeah, Shaw is his own God's Eye.
That's my problem, is that, Stevie, we fall into this pattern where there's some sort of MacGuffin. It's very Rise of the Skywalker. We got to go to a place to get a thing. That's going to send us to another place to get a thing. But all of this while, we sort of had these like battle of three armies at every turn, because Shaw's just going to show up and start fucking shit up. And it becomes extremely repetitive.
Yeah, it becomes extremely repetitive, and I feel like this movie strangely needs to lean into tropes even harder than it did. Like, I thought the best scene in the entire movie is when Paul Walker's hanging off a bus, and he does like that slow motion jump, and Letty's like back fin of her car, like he grabs onto and flings him on the gravel. It's like, okay, we're leaning into tropes. This is awesome. Mr. Nobody, I think, because this series has gone way off the rails, either needs to be Dom's long lost dad or Paul Walker's long lost dad. Like
Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Or are you just
need to lean into those tropes so hard if you're already going to do it, because this movie became really boring after a while. Go to a new place. Oh, there's Jason Statham. Go to a new place. There's Jason Statham again. Go to a new place. Hey, it's Jason Statham. There's like no weight to this movie whatsoever. The stakes are very, very low.
Even though the stakes are low, it feels like every set piece felt like it had an obligation to outdo the previous movies. And maybe that's present a little bit in 6 with the tank, but I feel like when we're jumping between buildings and Brett, like cars flying out of airplanes. I mean, it feels like we're going way over the top. Do you enjoy those moments of just like insanity, upping the ante?
No, I'm never. You know me. I don't know. These kind of action scenes don't really do it for me. I'm more of a. I guess I'll say dialogue, I'm more of a. Sorry, there's an animal on my front porch.
What kind of? Wait. No, this is important. What kind of animal do we have?
I think it's a raccoon. It has been a fox.
Do you want to shoot it on Mike?
Was it a trash panda?
Do you want to shoot it on Mike? That would be excellent content.
I don't think within city limits you're supposed to be doing that stuff.
I think it's just a boring old cat.
Tell that raccoon if it wanted a street fight, the street always wins. And go at it, Brett.
That's a big cat, though. Sorry.
Well, I have a question for Brett. Action scenes aren't your thing, but there's a scene where they jump out of a plane in cars and get them to all face downwards and get information. And they have like a 3-minute conversation. Does that not like crack you up at least?
No, and okay. Sorry, I cut myself off earlier. I like action scenes, but I like martial arts stuff a lot more than, like you guys know, I don't really like car chases, which I know is like blasphemy to some, but, but am I liking it because it's cool or because, like you said, Josh, it's like hilarious? Like, I could not freaking believe that they did the little double tail whip and pass the girl to a different car. Like, of all the crazy things we saw in this movie, I thought that was the dumbest thing and like the least realistic thing. So I saw them going for it. I go, tell me she's not going to jump into the other car, but they did it. So, I mean, yeah, it's okay, man. I've definitely never seen cars parachute before, so that's impressive.
Speaking of the girl, Ramsey, Josh, from your favorite show, Game of Thrones, how did you feel about this new addition of a character to the franchise?
Sunday.
I trust you. Now, why would you trust us? You barely know us.
I know enough. Ex-cop, military, something like that. The way you took out them guys shows training. Tech guy, offended by the hacker remark, naturally. Alpha. Mrs. Alpha. Joker.
Wrong. Double alpha. Man candy. You know what I'm saying?
Man, sit your candy ass down.
The whole pretense of the skydiving cars is to rescue her as she's an expert hacker, in case you haven't seen the movie.
She's a hacker. I'm a hacker. Just like Jurassic Park. I don't know. I think she plays Miss Sandai from Game of Thrones.
Missandei?
Missandei.
Santi's nuts.
Honestly, hate to say it, kind of treated like an object in both of those. There's actually a really similar scene with her in the water with people oogling at her naked or nearly naked body in Game of Thrones and in this. In this movie, it's Roman and Ludacris just like creeping on her. Totally.
That's what they do.
10 seconds of her arc is that. The rest is her I don't see that at all, but I guess we saw different things, so
it's like one scene
it's one
for
sure.
Scene. And that's the weird thing about it, is that it is just one scene, right? And they try and like wave it away because that other guy comes up and he's like, the last time I called dibs, she put her foot on my balls or something like that. But it works a lot better if you have the female protagonist at least stand up for herself, you know what I mean? Or show some assertiveness rather than, it's just showing her sexual for showing her sexual sake, right? There's nothing else there.
They had that conversation twice, I might add, including like introducing her. It's basically like, I get that she's a hacker, so she's smart, but it's not good character development just to show someone with their head down typing really fast in a car. Like, she's not doing much there, you know?
But I'm just saying she developed the technology, so she's really smart. Isn't it kind of a callback to, didn't Gal Gadot do that in one of the movies?
Yeah, she did. It was basically like the same scene.
Yeah, that's why I just figured it was a callback to that.
Yeah, callback.
At least the idiot, Josh, the idiot doesn't get her. The guy who calls dibs doesn't get her. Because if that would have been the case, then that would have been, 2 points for you. You're right.
In Game of Thrones, Wormtail is the one peeking on her, and he does get her despite having no
worm. He's got no worm.
Yeah, ironically, he has no Wormtail.
Grima.
Well, before we move on to that ongoing scene in Abu Dhabi, Kyle, is there anything from Tyrese's plan that we didn't touch on? I mean, like I said, it's an action sequence in multiple parts cut together, like I've said before, the Phantom Menace style. And I'm not necessarily a fan of this, but is there anything from here that like stands out to you, especially from the ridiculous, over the top nature that is this movie?
That fucking whole set piece is insanity. It's really classic Fast and Furious insanity at this point. Like, there's just like crazy like technology that doesn't exist being used, right? They got like the transport bus that has like the gunners in the back, which I'm like, all right, I guess that's cool. But then like they have this whole thing where the sides come up and they got like the bigger guns, right? It's insane. I don't know. It's lots of crazy stunts, lots of car crashes. It's a lot of fun, I think. And I forgot about Tyrese in the beginning because like he kind of, through his own cowardice, kind of doesn't go with the rest of the team to perform this heist. So he's gone at the beginning, but he comes back later and kind of saves Dom's ass, which obviously it was intended to be that way. But I forgot about it completely. And, I've seen this movie a couple times.
My big problem with this whole set piece, I mean, like there are some ridiculous over the top moments. And I think when the Fast and the Furious is at its best, it's like creatively over the top to some extent, right? To Brett's point, I've never seen in a movie a car parachute out of a plane. I guess that's something new that we're adding to the canon that is film. But at the same time, the only way that they escape the situation is Dom just straight up fucking drives his car off a cliff. And that's not really that interesting to me. And there's no reason why that works.
You better put on your helmet.
He's got the death-proof car.
Oh, yeah.
They get out of the car, and they're like, everyone's like, Dom, you're okay. And, like, Ramsey's, like, bleeding in the passenger seat. Like, no one even cares, like, what's happening to her.
To be fair, the first time I saw this scene, like, randomly 5 years ago, and I didn't know anything about it, I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But, like, with context of knowing that, I think Korey mentioned, it's like a reinforced car. Like, it makes a little more sense. And if you, like, look when it's rolling down, he was prepared for it. Like, I don't know if you could see, he was holding on to something. So he braced for it more than her. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely dumb, but it makes a little more sense that it's like a reinforced military. So I don't know.
It's kind of the last ditch effort, really, because he got surrounded and, I don't think that was necessarily part of the plan, but he had his emergency plan, which was just crash this fucking car, drive off a cliff, and worst case scenario, we'll be able to survive. And in the Fast and the Furious universe, like the way physics and injuries work, like unless like a fucking boulder falls on someone's head, they're going to be fine. Like even jumping out of like cars driving like 90 miles an hour is just common play in this universe. If you roll, you're okay.
You can be buried in the ground and come back and be okay, like apparently Han is.
It's because they have God on their side. You guys don't understand that family is more of a religious experience than anything.
Right.
It's got
the cross.
Almost very little to do with cars. It's more of a...
That was my least favorite scene in the entire movie.
The whole sequence or just the driving off the cliff?
The drive off the cliff made me so angry. Because like what makes movies fun is like, okay, you think A is going to happen... They don't do A, but then you think B is going to happen. They don't do A, and they land on C, and usually it's like, wow, that makes sense, and I think about it, and I wasn't expecting it. Like, when he got surrounded, I was like, he's probably just going to drive off the cliff.
Yeah, that's A in these movies.
It's purely A, and I was like really let down by like, you could have done something really cool in that build up there, and it just never happened.
I was looking for the ejector seat or something, Stevie, but it was just like, no, more slamming into rocks.
Yeah.
More.
Why do they never put guns on the car? It's like,
I mean, I guess you could say like, well, you told him to put armor on the car. It's like, well, I mean, cool. But, like, you could have built something a lot cooler or done something where it's like, oh, that makes sense. And just drive off the cliff, I thought was just clunky and very boring.
I like how Mikey just wants to shoot the cliff to get out of the situation.
Why didn't they shoot the cliff?
Yeah, cause an avalanche and then ride the avalanche down the mountain.
Or like even turn the car into a goddamn tank. And like, you know, you could have one of the guys be like, "You said you wanted more armor. Whoa!" Like, I mean, that would have been like way better than just drive off cliff.
Were they just at the point where they couldn't have a character come in and save the day anymore? Because it happens like 5 times in this movie where there's like everyone's backs against the wall, then Tyrese comes in or The Rock comes in or something. Like, not necessarily a Deus Ex Machina because you knew that they were out there, but it's just like comes in from the side and saves them.
That's the nature of family, you know? That's how it works.
Deus Ex Machina.
That's
Ooh,
great.
I like that, Brett.
That's really good, Brett. But speaking of Abu Dhabi, we weren't speaking of Abu Dhabi at all, but we're there next now. Stevie, how do you feel about the Abu Dhabi sequence? Because, I mean, this is where I get mad, because people who defend this franchise say, "Oh, you're not supposed to think about it. It's a dumb movie." But, like, they never even ask to get the flash drive back. They just immediately go into heist mode.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, why don't they at least try to ask him? They have money.
So little in the sequence makes any fucking sense at all. And not in the over-the-top, like, Ken Carr's parachute type way. Like, the characters are being fucking idiots type way.
I mean, I hate this sequence personally of, like, the party. And, I mean, this movie tries to be a lot of things. And part of me wants to say, like, stop trying to do these things. Like, they have this giant heist sequence that isn't very good. It's not a very good heist sequence. It's more just playing, like, just for laughs and to get us to a certain point with no originality. And then even when you get past the heist sequence, and like I said before, like, you know, what makes movies fun is not A, not B, but we land on C. In my brain, I was thinking, oh, they're probably going to drive through that building. And they drove through that building. And in my brain again, I was like, oh, there's no brakes. They're probably going to drive through that building. And they drive through the building again. Like, this movie is
I did not think that, so
frustrating.
It is exactly like driving off the cliff, basically. It's the same scene.
Yes, it's the exact same scene, like wrapped with different, like, wrapping paper.
Well, now they got a $3.4 million car to do it with.
I thought they were going to go full corny. I thought he was going to fishtail into the elevator and ride it down. That's what I thought was going to happen until I saw Shaw.
That's better, Brett. You've been hired. That's better.
I mean, yeah, all right. So this movie is stupid, yes. But Stevie, I have to disagree with you on a part of that, and that's I don't think the Fast and the Furious movies at this point are trying to be anything other than what they already are. Like, I don't think this movie's trying to be anything. It already is what it is. It's a Fast and the Furious movie.
But what is a Fast and the Furious movie?
It's this.
But what is this?
It's chaotic heists that usually involve a MacGuffin where there's no physics and there's very little questions asked. Like, why didn't they just ask for that? No, these guys just act. Like, I mean, good or bad, that's what these movies are, right?
Stevie, it's playing Grand Theft Auto 5 with all of the cheat codes on. That's what these movies are, okay? What more do you want?
Like, I know I'm not the target audience for these movies at all. Like, the target audience is, like, males between the age of 12 and 16. So I guess you could say, like, I'm asking for too much, but it's...
8th highest grossing movie of all time.
That's fantastic. A lot of 12 and 16-year-olds got out of the house that day. But, yeah, a lot of this movie is, oh, it's probably going to happen. Oh, it does happen. And I find that type of, like, filmmaking really frustrating.
Can I ask Mikey a question?
Please.
Go ahead, Brett. My brain is totally turned off.
He's 4 claws deep in Fast 7.
Is Vin Diesel God, or does he just turn into God when he lifts a 3,000-pound car?
Holy shit.
Here's my theory. The whole thing is not it. They're like a death cult, okay? They're trying to experience death on, like, the closest they can possibly get to it, and
it's like Point Break.
Yeah, they're just living for adrenaline. They're just trying to get as close to death as they possibly can, and I don't know. I think God is channeling himself through Vin Diesel in some of these.
He wants to hit the adrenaline too, like he loves it.
Yeah, because he's doing some crazy shit. I'm sure this car is probably pretty light compared to most cars, but it's still a freaking car, and he's deadlifting a car. So Paul Walker.
I looked it up. It weighs 3,000 pounds. Like I told Brittany, I think it's supposed to be really light, but 3,000 is still pretty heavy.
A lot. So,
okay, Brett.
It's a little heavy. Yeah.
I'm like, Brett, I'm so happy you said that, though, because what movie is it where he rolls over in the bus when he's handcuffed?
4.
Okay, remember when I said his arm should have got torn off in that movie, and they should have put a robotic arm on him, with like 15 minutes left? It would have been so awesome if it was like the robotic arm lifted the car, and he didn't stomp the concrete, he punched it with his cybernetic arm. Like,
that'd be cool.
Would have landed way better.
Stevie, you don't want to make these movies unrealistic.
No, why would I want to do that, considering time travel is probably going to be a thing in the next one?
But there's a line that I don't think that like we're defining clearly, or at least that bothers me. And with these movies, like a car jumping between buildings within the context of the Fast and the Furious movies makes relative sense. I'm not upset by that. Like someone was in Abu Dhabi or in some big skyscraper city. They saw 2 buildings. They were like, hey, wouldn't that be visually cool to see on a big screen a spectacle of a car jumping between the buildings? It is what it is. It knows what it is. But when you have a fucking super intelligent program on a GD flash drive that's also just being used in this car, and the guy didn't like clear off the flash drive. He didn't notice that there was the God's eye. Like, that's just fucking lazy. Like, that's just like, our audience is too stupid to care, and they won't care. Like, that's, I don't know. There's just like literally no thought into that. It's like, oh, we just need a reason to have the spectacle. Like, there's no thought into the context around the spectacle, just like there was no thought into fucking casting Ronda Rousey.
Oh, God, I hate Ronda Rousey.
I was wondering if you were going to transition to her with that line, with what you were saying.
What did you, Brett? What did you think about Ronda Rousey first? It sounds like we're on the same page. I guess, is that more of a personal vendetta, or do you hate her in this movie?
Oh, I mean, it's personal. I don't like her.
I thought so.
Brett's had a lot of run-ins with Ronda.
No, she's just super arrogant. She's terrible. I mean, the acting is terrible.
She has like one line, and she does not deliver on it at all. It's like,
it's awful. She has like 2 lines. It's terrible.
Okay, but why is arrogant Brett's like go-to term for people?
Because she doesn't think Letty's that charming of a bitch, and she says so in a monotone voice.
Would you believe I knocked him out with my charm?
You ain't that charming, bitch.
Have you ever seen Ronda? I mean, ever listened to Ronda Rousey? She's like, I just don't like her. Plus, she's a domestic abuser. Can we call her out? I mean, that's what we do on here. So,
burn her, Brett.
I mean,
Who
anyway,
did she abuse?
She kicked the living crap out of her boyfriend one time and bragged about it in her book. I mean, when you're Ronda Rousey and he's a normal person, that's domestic abuse. So we should hold her to the same standard, right?
Brett, did you read the book?
Heck no.
Is it possible you don't know the whole context of it?
No, I know the context. I read about it. I know the story.
Sounds like
she
a lot of
brags about
journo
it.
talk, Brett.
Oh my God. Well, I'm allowed. If I'm a journo, I can just make whatever I want up. So I guess I am a journo. Anyway, I thought it was pretty ridiculous that Letty beats like 3 probably special force type ladies, and then the guy's personal bodyguard at the same time. But whatever.
Yeah, logic kind of does turn off in Abu Dhabi, doesn't it? It's just the land of turbans and G-strings. Like,
like if you have 10 guys with guns as but they're not good enough to be your personal guard and you're a multi-billionaire, those are going to be some highly trained people. And Letty, who I guess just a street fighter from LA, can beat 4 of them at the same time. Well, I guess 2 or 3 of them at the same time, but I mean, but again, they
stop ruining this shit for me, guys. God damn you all.
Well, Josh, I want to get your thoughts on the car jump. We have a range of it's as stupid as someone driving a car off a cliff to it's at least acceptable spectacle. And Kylo, I think that you'd say that you like it, right? The car between the buildings. Yeah. Josh, where do you fall?
My note on it was actually that it was reminiscent of 9/11. I feel like,
God, what a weird fucking note, dude.
That's
Jesus
a
Christ. Never mind.
Strange note, bro.
Dude, I just think showing like a moving vehicle entering like tall towers has been kind of like a taboo thing to show. So I was kind of surprised to see that it went there, but
not a bad point. Yeah.
Man, this movie's a cartoon, just like Ronda Rousey and like fighting and dresses, just like the car going off the cliff. It's just like they don't care about what triggers the next big event. Just there has to be another big event. And Stevie, do you remember, like, I forget if it was freaking Fast 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, but we kept saying that the Fast movies things just happen. That was like,
they just happen.
That was one of the quotes we said.
Yes,
they
you
just
turn
happen.
your brain off and things just happen
I
on screen.
can't do that, Mikey. My ADD does not allow for that.
This is the perfect ADD movie. You don't have to pay attention to the plot at all.
That's the worst part.
You ignore every time anybody's on a phone, which is like half of the movie, and then you only listen when you hear that sweet, sweet purr of the Dodge Challenger Dom is driving.
Mikey, these movies are hell for my mental state, okay?
Pappy, why'd you get so mad at me about my note?
Well, I bring up one guy wrapping his Porsche around a telephone pole, and all of a sudden I'm the bad guy, and like you're equating the spectacle of silly cartoony to like 9/11. I don't really see the parallel there. It's a very serious comparison that you're drawing.
Not saying it's funny.
Also, 14 years later, Josh, what the hell? I don't think anybody was thinking that.
How do we talk about 9/11 so often lately? What's
It's
happening?
Josh every time. Every time it's Josh.
Kylo, let's get back to something we like to talk about. Lord of the Rings and Kurt Russell's mithril underneath his suit. What happens at the ambush where they forfeit the God's Eye to? And we haven't. Okay, there's a terrorist guy. What do you know his? We haven't even fucking talked about the terrorist guy.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there is a terrorist guy. He's like some mercenary dude. He's like the obligatory Fast and Furious franchise mercenary dude with hundreds of henchmen, you know?
He's the fisherman from Serenity, if you guys remember him. He was Matthew McConaughey's boatmate.
Well, he's the only Oscar-nominated actor in this whole movie, I believe.
And Kurt Russell never got nominated?
I don't believe so.
Overboard didn't make it? Anyway.
Future spoilers pick.
Overboard's cool. But anyway, that dude, his name is Jakande, I think. He's the guy that had Ramsey, and they thwarted him. They got her from him. Anyway, they're on his shit list. But I quite like the scene, Pappy, when they finally have the God's Eye. They go to take out Shaw, and, they find his secret location. They go in there with Kurt Russell, Mr. Nobody, and all his military troops, and he's just, like, sitting in there casual as you like having dinner, like, at a little table. But he's, like, a British, like, kind of suave guy, so it's, like, slightly fancy in this, like, really shitty industrial warehouse. I like that.
I'm ready to meet my maker. Are you?
Were you expecting Toretto? Catch me off guard? Me standing here waving a white flag? You ever heard the saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
I don't have friends. I got family.
Well, I got a lot of friends.
But of course, the other villain shows up and they don't get to take him so easily. And in this shootout, yeah, like you said, Mr. Nobody does get shot, and it seems like he's dead, I guess, for like maybe 0.1 second in your brain, and you're like, wait, that's not going to happen. Like, they just introduced this guy. He's got at least 3 movies. He's got some kind of body armor, but it's like weird-looking body armor, so like I guess it's some kind of like Fast and Furious universe special kind of body armor, right?
I hate this scene, though, because you're like, oh, he has special powers, and he like flips down his glasses, and he has some weird night vision, and then
no, he's got Tony Stark.
But then he can't remember how many clips his guns have, and he just stands there in the middle of the battlefield after he's out of bullets. It's so dumb. Like, use your training, catch some cover, bro.
He hasn't been in the field for a while. Yeah,
he starts blasting people though. He's the best shot there.
He does a lot of practicing, you know.
Yeah, his night vision glasses were cool. I like that.
Not to dig too deep into Kurt Russell, Stevie, how do you feel about, I know we already talked about him, but how do you feel about his presence as a character? Like, now the family has like a guiding force, right? Like, we love Kurt Russell. He's our boy. One of the most prolific actors in the history of this podcast who we've covered.
One of my all-time favorites.
But do you like him as a presence in this franchise? Does he fit?
Yes. And I was really bummed because it was, okay, first off, Dom and him made some weird glances at each other when, like, you thought, like, he got shot to death. And you're like, oh, no. Like, why are they giving each other these glances? And I was really hoping in the car he would be like, Dom, I never told you this, but you're my son. Like, it would have worked.
You just want it to be Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yes, that's all I want. It's my favorite Marvel movie. But
and he just says, "I am Groot."
We're family.
But I mean, I like him. Like, I think he's just a fun actor. Quite frankly, I hope with these Metal Gear Solid movies, hopefully they're going to be taking off the next 5 years. He gets like a standalone Big Boss movie. Mike, you'd understand what that means.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would kill it in that role. But yeah, I mean, I you know me, Pappy. I hate these movies and I love Kurt Russell. So take that as you will. Yeah, I like him in these movies.
I think you've given most of these movies a yes, by far. I don't know if that's...
I know.
Yeah, if that counts as hating these movies. But what I hate, Josh, is the blatant emotional manipulation that's happening with Mia and Brian when she tells Brian that she's pregnant. I know I've already come to you once for this, but do you start to feel the feels when she's like, "It's a little girl"?
No.
How could you possibly know that?
She's been pregnant for a long time and not told him.
She said 9 months earlier, and then when she said that as a girl, she literally was not showing that she was pregnant. But sorry, go ahead, Josh. I just came back from a tweet. I just didn't know what I walked in on.
No, that's a really good point. No, that part didn't hit me in the feels. That part was more about what you were saying earlier, that she's lying by omission to the father of her baby this whole movie, basically, right?
What I find strange, too, is when they're like, "I know Dom wouldn't leave me, like, here in the DR because I'm pregnant," but it's like, you already have a child. Why does the presence of a second child necessitate Paul Walker protecting you? You already have...
Well, he never really loved Jack, you know?
True. We already established that.
I don't like this recycled storyline of her being pregnant again, A. And B, it's confusing, like, the end phone call, he's calling her to tell her that he's about to do something really dangerous and he might not come home. And at least he's being, like, honest with her. But she drops that knowledge on him so that he'll be, like, extra careful or something. I don't know.
There's no point within the story for it, right? The only purpose that it serves, like I said, is to emotionally manipulate the audience. We know all of these decisions were made post-mortem of Paul Walker, so it's just setting up, you know, a bigger emotional hit at the end when we get to the Wiz Khalifa song. But Kylo, before we get to that Wiz Khalifa song, we have one last battle in Los Angeles, full-on drone warfare. Kurt Russell, as he's leaving with his mithril wound, says that they're never going to stop coming for Ramsey. So they need to, I guess, neutralize the God's Eye. Is that kind of the plan here?
Yeah, I think so.
No one knows the plan.
Okay, it is a little confusing. I admit that, right? This movie, as you guys are pointing out, a lot of it is kind of an excuse to get to the next action scene. It involves the God's Eye. We'll just leave it at that, right? So there is a big chase in LA. Actually, maybe it's just another day in LA. It's quite chaotic out here. But the family are being chased by like all these nameless mercenaries who got tech. They got, you know, helicopters, guns, and all that. So, I mean, there's kind of a lot going on. I guess one part that is kind of happening to the side is Dom versus Shaw. Like, they're finally having their, like, 1v1 showdown. And, that's going pretty well. I think the best part of that is that someone made an edit where they have lightsabers instead of, like, the wrenches or whatever. Yeah. It's probably the best thing to come out of that.
There's gonna be a street fight?
You're goddamn right it is.
Brett, did you catch what The Rock was watching on TV while all this is happening, by the way?
Yeah, it was at, I saw that it was Miami. Was it Miami, Florida State?
Yep, him sacking the Florida State quarterback.
F that dude.
But it was actually The Rock. Like, The Rock is watching himself on TV. Pretty weird.
Yeah, it was mediocre.
Anything that wasn't mediocre for you, Brett, in the sequence? I know you love Brian and his hand-to-hand combat stuff.
Does he fight? Oh, yeah, he fights Tony Jaa. I don't know. I thought the Too Slow was pretty good. And it was pretty funny that he looks at the stairs and he's like, ugh, and he has to run up them. And then, like, 2 minutes later, he's going down them again. I thought that was pretty funny. But I don't know. The first scene was a lot better, so I didn't have a problem with it.
So here's my thing, Stevie. See if you agree with this. Let's compare Roadhouse to this. Roadhouse had 6 or 7 absolute pure moments of insanity in a 100-minute movie. And like from saying I'm going to fuck guys like you in prison to like tearing the guy's throat out, those are all very distinct because of sort of the nature of the film. So much of
they also fall back on each other, yeah.
So much of it is lost in the noise that is this final scene. It's hard to even remember The Rock breaking his cast. You know what I mean? It's like all of a blur of an action sequence.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I hated the Paul Walker final fight with the too slow. I feel like if you're going to have a fight like that, it needs to carry a lot of serious weight. And they do that actually really well in Roadhouse or the Raid movies like Korey mentioned earlier. If you haven't seen those, people listening, please watch the Raids. They're absolutely incredible. But to me, honestly, felt nothing with Paul Walker's fight because I was like, oh, he's probably going to make it out of this. And the way it was edited, it's just, like I said earlier, one punch, cut, one kick, cut, rammed in a wall, cut. But a lot of it is just, like you said, Pap, it's lost in the noise of 30 different actors, on these little side quests that really aren't that interesting.
I mean, Kylo, do you reach a point of diminishing returns? Because I know how much you love this franchise, but like we pointed out like these individual components, like Ramsey jumping between the cars or the too slow or the Rock breaking his cast. But like to me, when these are all laid bare next to each other relentlessly, I can't even really distinguish between them.
I think some parts are better than others. That is definitely true in the later Fast and the Furious movies with the big action set pieces. But, I do like seeing The Rock show up and fucking just go ham. Like at some point he drives a ambulance like into a drone, I think, right? So like that's pretty excessive and funny and great in my opinion. And then he like picks up a minigun and he's just like going toe to toe with a fucking helicopter.
I am the cavalry woman.
It's so fucking good, man. And the grenade thing, like that made me laugh. I remember like in theaters. Like my experience watching it now is, I guess, a little different than the first time I saw it. When I first saw it, I was like, this is so fucking stupid that I love it. Now I'm like strangely like more invested, so I take it slightly more seriously. It's weird.
Oh, they got you. James Wan got you.
Yeah, I guess I've been brainwashed by him, man. But there's a lot of moments in this action scene I do like. It doesn't get as annoying as like the third act of Hobbs and Shaw, but you can tell they're getting there in the franchise. Imagine how long the third act is going to be in Fast 9.
Can't fucking wait.
2 hours.
Future spoilers review. But Mikey, do you want to bring us home here? What the terrorist is dispersed and Letty gets her memory back. Any thoughts on those events?
Well, you can't forget that Dom wall rides a helicopter and then dies.
True.
Yes.
And then Letty has to use the power of their adrenaline god to resuscitate him back to life. He's pretty much dead, I think. And then she's like, oh, I remember all of these things, blah, blah, blah. And it revives Dom.
Come on, Dom. Come back. Come on, buddy. Dom, come on. Come on. Dom, you stop. Bring that to him. Pick his nose. You bring that to him. You bring that to him.
Please. Go, baby. I know you're hurting right now, but I want you to listen, stay awake, and focus on me. I remember everything. I remember it all.
It's about time.
It's just all ridiculous. Shaw gets locked up, and then we get the beach scene, which Gonna be honest, I wasn't really paying attention too much after the helicopter crash because I know that there's not much else going to be happening.
I missed it. Did someone? You mentioned the wall ride. Has someone mentioned the grenade bag?
No.
I thought Korey mentioned that.
And how unlikely that was as well.
Maybe you can go over it in more detail, Brett. I didn't really get into it.
He just flies off and he's like, "Don't miss," and then he like you said, he glides right under the helicopter. You think that he missed. You think that he's trying to pull, I don't know, wherever he's trying to hit the helicopter, and then he misses, and you're like, "Oh, what a loser!" And then he goes down and rolls down, but then you realize that grenade bag, he chucked that, he got that perfectly placed on the helicopter, and then Shaw comes up with his, Hobbs comes up with his, I don't know, 44 Magnum or whatever, and just blows him up. So that's just
his like fucking Rick Grimes, like whatever gun.
I do like that.
Yeah, I think
gun.
it's a 44 Magnum. It's big.
It's cool
huge.
looking.
The weird thing about the CPR sequence is I think Letty says something to the effect of, "I'm gonna die if you die," right? Like that's the nature of the relationship.
If you die, I die. And I'm not ready to leave this place yet.
At one point in this franchise, Dom literally thought that Letty was dead and has like an affair with Elena. You know what I mean? Like he moves on romantically and he doesn't think about killing himself even for a fucking second. And she's like, "I die without you." But you hit it on it, Mikey, the beach sequence. Josh, I've been coming to you for all the emotional hits tonight. What were you thinking during this last sequence as sort of all of the family in turn takes their turn to stare at Paul Walker playing with his kids on the beach?
Whew. It seemed like, I don't know, did it seem like to you like they wanted to give each actor their turn to say goodbye? Like everyone would do this if it was as tasteful as possible, which means I need my face nodding towards Paul Walker. And I think that's kind of bullshit. Like, Pappy, I kind of like the end montage and speech, and I think that's a fitting ending. And I don't think they needed to, like, I don't know. They're kind of like still pretending in the movie that like Paul Walker's still alive in this universe, and he's just going to be on a beach throwing his kid up and down for all eternity. And that's not very enjoyable. But them actually giving like a meta nod to Paul, I think, is a little more digestible to me.
100% agree. 1,000% agree. I think that, like, yeah, when they're showing the scenes from the previous movie, the for Paul, even on the fucking as on the nose as you can get, Paul Walker taking one exit and Vin Diesel staying on the highway, like, fine, I'll accept it. But it's just, that beach sequence does kind of rub me the wrong way. Kylo, you're notoriously not an emotional person. You haven't cried in a couple of decades, I think, at this point. Do you come close at the end of Furious 7?
I think I did shed a tear.
Whoa!
Wow! Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got it.
It's been a long night.
Not this time, but yeah, there was a time. There was a time when I had emotions, Pappy. And when I saw this in theaters, that was one of those times. I also had a flask of whiskey with me. I remember distinctly. I also remember distinctly like how into this movie the crowd was and how moved they were by this scene. Dude, this like 60-year-old Hispanic lady that was sitting right next to me was fucking in for this movie. And I remember thinking, wow.
Dang.
This is really for everyone, isn't it? But I mean, I guess not now that we're doing this podcast. I realize maybe not.
It is for quadrants.
You know, Stevie's too smart.
Kylo, I have to ask, did she get the Hispanic panic when it was like the emotional farewell at the end?
There was a lot of tears shed in that auditorium, sir. Yeah, I mean, I love this ending. Like, I don't bawl when I watch it now, but I get what it's doing. It moves me. It's sad. It's sad to think about that this dude died so young, and especially for someone like me that's a fan of these movies. So I think it's a good send-off, and I like that they just didn't kill him in the movie, because I think that would be a little bit too easy. They wanted to do something different, something they feel like would be better, more respectful. Does it make sense in the context of the sequels to this? Maybe not necessarily. But what are you going to do? The man's fucking dead.
I mean, would it have been better if they would have had him jettisoned from a spaceship and have him fly heroically using the Force back to safety?
No, he's got to do light speed directly into Shaw.
Yes!
He's got to hit Nos, and it takes himself out. Self-sacrifice. Dyes his hair purple.
It's a 1 in a million shot.
And then the next one we can say, somehow Han has returned.
What if they did it like Spock, though, where they just put Paul Walker's like dead body like in a car, like in a plane, and just have him go out of the plane with no chute?
It only works because they put Spock into space. And they just drop him out of a fucking plane, land on someone's house.
I really did not pay attention to like the last 2 minutes of this movie on the beach scene. Are they like, okay, we're not going to run any more jobs with Paul Walker? Do they say that, or like what are they talking about Paul Walker here?
I think he eventually kills himself because he hates family life so much. I think that's what we're supposed to think.
Oh, he goes on a
dark
murder suicide.
Oh my god! No, okay, Mike.
No, definitely joking. Sorry.
Everyone's like Josh said, basically ogling the family, like in turn, like appreciating it. And I think what they say is like, this is where he belongs.
Medium rare, but I can get like well done. It's like really dark.
What you nudging me for? Close your mouth for 2 seconds. Just open your eyes, man. Beautiful.
That's where he belongs.
Home. Where he's always belonged. Things are gonna be different now.
Family.
With his other family, not this family.
Our family spawned a new family.
Stevie, I'll give you the last word real quick before we go into final thoughts. You've been the biggest detractor of this movie so far. What are you feeling and thinking at the end of this movie?
So, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, seeing Paul Walker, like, kind of do that slideshow, like, montage of, like, him through these movies actually did make me sad because I'm a huge, like, 90s, early 2000s dude, and I love Paul Walker in his early, like, teen, like, high school movie days. Varsity Blues, She's All That. He killed it in that movie. He did another high school movie, too. I cannot remember what it is.
Pleasantville?
But, like, what's that?
Pleasantville?
Yes! Like, I'm a big Paul Walker guy. So, like, seeing him, like, up on the screen was like, damn, I actually really like that dude as an actor. But yeah, it hit me in the emotional feels just a tad bit, Pap. So I actually didn't mind, like, the ending at all.
There you have it. Even Stevie's cold, Fast and Furious hating heart was slightly melted by the ending.
It was. Nostalgia hit me, dude.
What about you, Pap? Were you sad? I feel like maybe you making all these jokes is kind of masking something.
Yeah.
Let it out, bro.
Listen. Obviously, it's sad, right? I think it's hilariously ironic that he died fast and furiously. I mean, come on, that's hilarious. He died driving too fast. I mean, that's irony. That's the definition of irony. Now, I think I may have been sad at a time, but before I enjoyed these movies, I was inundated with R.I.P. Paul Walker. Oh, it's so sad Paul Walker's dead. Like, I don't know. I'm too much of a contrarian, honestly. Like, I don't feel anything really. Like when you see what got me was when you see his evolution through the films, right? You see him as a very young man, and we know now that he's passed away. That's hard. I'll say that. Like, when I see him, as much as I disliked Too Fast, Too Furious, or the original Fast and Furious, like, you know, seeing him, knowing he's going to be going to become this, like, prolific movie star and to die tragically young. Yeah, that does get me a little bit. The song, I think, is very fitting, too, right? Maybe the best bop of any of these Fast and Furious movies. Brett, can you give us a few bars of the song?
No,
Come on.
I sang it a little bit. I was singing it 5 minutes ago. Trust me.
What
the
were you
fans
with those velvety pipes,
What
Brett?
were you
they're
singing
still
earlier?
recovering from it. No.
Yeah, that's getting me.
That you, my friend. I'm a terrible singer, guys.
You're not. Brett, you're a
bad.
great singer.
Keep going.
The Leonard Cohen version. Keep going.
We can resurrect him. We can resurrect him if you keep going.
When I see you again.
Now do the Eric Clapton.
No.
Okay. All right.
He's on board.
Final
Please don't
thoughts.
edit that without context.
Final thoughts. I'm waving it off. My two final thoughts from me. One, Bow Wow back in this movie. That was.
Let's go.
Was that footage from the original Tokyo Drift?
He looks very.
Or was that
No, it's not.
reshot? So they actually like had him on set one day to shoot those scenes.
He's not doing
I'm pretty
anything
sure
else.
it was. Yeah, they filmed that. Same thing with
He was filming like Mike 5, probably. So,
Sorry.
oh man, my Bow Wow fans love that joke.
I just felt 50 Bow Wow diehards unsubscribe from the podcast at once. I just felt the wind from it. Okay, actually, two more things. At Han's funeral, keep in mind, Han, who died in a car accident, Vin Diesel peels out in his loud American sports car, and like nobody else at the funeral is going to have any context on why he's doing that. It's going to be extremely inappropriate for everybody else, like who's mourning their dead friend. And the last one was the Corona reveal when Kurt Russell's talking about his Belgian beer, and Vin Diesel says, "I'm more of a Corona guy," and then Kurt Russell just pulls out a bucket of Coronas out of thin air. That's good stuff, right?
Yeah, with like the Corona label facing the camera.
Excellent product placement.
I think Corona never paid a dime.
It's weird,
for
right?
this. I think that's like a famous
Get some
thing.
money out of this thing.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts on this 2.5 hour movie?
Yeah, I remember thinking at that same funeral scene, I remember him being able to break down a crime scene from whatever movie that was, 5 or
4.
And then in this movie, he's got a sixth sense where he knows when a car's creeping up like 500 feet away. Nobody else notices it, but I'm like, man, he is a superhero. And then we find out like he can lift cars and stuff. So,
And break streets, apparently.
Well, what's more inappropriate? Him taking off from that funeral in a car fast, and that's the way Han died. Or him just like hanging out by the casket alone, mumbling while everyone is like standing back, taking in the service.
He's talking about family, dude.
You were supposed to be a part of the family.
Everyone's like, "What? Speak up!" What? I couldn't catch it from the back.
They're at the funeral, and like Han's dad and his sister and his cousins are all in the second row,
and a bunch of
and
babes.
Vin Diesel's in the front row because he's his real family. That's very important.
Why is Han being buried in L.A.? I didn't
True.
understand that either. Like,
Family.
Just figured he's been dead for a while by the time Dom shows up and finds out that he's dead.
I'm exhuming his body.
Lucas Black is in this movie briefly, right? From Tokyo Drift, Sean Boswell.
18-year-old.
Yeah, he's still playing that same age as he was in that movie.
That receding hairline is the star of this movie.
I forgot how much your boy from America could drift or whatever he says.
I like the way you talk.
I like the way you talk.
That's my boy.
All right. Anything else pressing that we should discuss?
Pap,
in our one and only time. Yeah.
This series is becoming so outlandish and ridiculous. Who's one like star that hasn't been in any of these movies that you would like to see?
Nicolas Cage.
Oh, that would be good.
What an answer.
Brad Pitt?
In The Stang? That'd be so awesome.
I think you could get Brad Pitt in there.
That'd be cool.
I think Jean-Claude Van Damme would work too.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Just get the whole Expendables crew in there.
I'm a Norseman. Me and my son are
It would
Norsemen.
require Daniel Day-Lewis to actually become a street racer in L.A.
I've abandoned my car!
Nick Cage could be in the films as the Ghost Rider.
I drink your Corona, Eli. All right, fuck this. All right, yes or no's. I'll go first. Fuck this stupid shit. I hate all of these movies. I really do. I think 5 is legitimately the only one that's watchable. I don't think Tokyo Drift crosses into so bad it's good territory. All of these are just pretty dog shit films, and all of them just think so little of the audience. Like I said, I like spectacle. I like fucking musicals that have like no basic plot, but you can't like do things like, here's this flash drive, oh, it's being used in a car now. Like that kind of shit doesn't make any sense. And like I said, it felt so Rise of the Skywalker. Like, you can find an intelligent way to build around the spectacle. Just saying that it's a dumb movie, turn your brain off, isn't good enough for me. I'm sorry. It's not. Almost all of these movies are fucking terrible. This one's especially bad, and I think it's honestly buoyed by two things. One, it was seen, and I mean buoyed in like sort of like the critical like reception, public perception sense. One, I think a lot of people saw this who hadn't seen other Fast and the Furious movies. I think Kylo has a great point when he says that most people's perception of what a Fast and the Furious movie is actually much, much worse than what they actually are, even though I'm not a fan. So if you're just going to jump in at 7, you're going to be like, yeah, that was fucking stupid, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. So I think that gets a lot of good graces. And frankly, it's the fact that the actor died. It's the fact that Paul Walker died is giving this movie so much credit. And you see, in terms of like critical response and like fan response, a huge cliff between this and 8 because you don't have that goodwill anymore. And I'm hoping with the return of Justin Lin, it's a return to at least semi-decent watchable form for the franchise, but I'm not optimistic. Hard no for this. Rest in peace, Paul Walker. This pod is for you. We'll keep the same order. Brett.
All right. Korey, this is for you. This is I'll since I'm probably gonna be the only one, I'll give it a soft yes. Probably the worst one I've seen, but I've liked-ish all of them. So, and I have not seen Too Fast, Too Furious. So, I mean, it was just enough there. But I'm like everyone else. I kind of started doing something else at like 20 minutes in, and I remember just thinking, man, I just don't really care much about this plot. So, but there was enough there. I actually laughed out loud a couple times. Tyrese is pretty obnoxious throughout this movie, but he made me laugh once or twice. There was just enough there, just enough. So I have solidarity with Kylo.
Yeah. 1 no, 1 yes. Stevie?
Oh, this is a hard no. This movie is absolutely unwatchable. It has nowhere near the charm that Tokyo Drift does, or
think about that sentence.
He's gonna die on that hill.
Or even the original Fast and Furious was just a Stagecoach and Point Break ripoff. So yeah, hardest of no's for this. Yeah, I mean, two things can be true. It's super sad that Paul Walker died, and it's super sad that his last film appearance was in this dog shit of a movie. So hardest of no's, unwatchable.
This has already gotten more no's than Fast and Furious, and I would say this is almost even an objectively better movie than that. But Korey, what do you give Furious 7?
Well, Pappy, I'm sorry that this movie is not the masterpiece that Moulin Rouge is, or other similar musicals.
Call it Moulin Rouge 1.
I hate Moulin Rouge. What are you talking about?
Have you tried turning your brain off, Pappy?
No. Oh, wait. Just turn my... Oh! No!
Boom.
Okay.
Problem solved. No,
Let's do this podcast over while I turn my brain off and watch it.
You know, I hate that argument too, Pappy, because like it reminds me of like when some like random coworker that casually watches movies, like not the way I do, like we'll talk about a movie, they'll say, oh, you just turn your brain off. And I just fucking hate it. It gets under my skin too. So I know what you mean by that phrase. Anyway, that being said, I'm going to give this movie a yes. I do like, Pappy talked about spectacle. I do like the spectacle of the Fast and the Furious sequels, and by that I mean the movies 4 and on. And each of them kind of has their own things about them that I like. 5 being obviously like the way the heist is planned out and the amount of like fun that is presented in that movie. With this one, I gotta be honest, a lot of it's the Paul Walker send-off feels. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, it's the big action scenes. There's definitely a lot of things that don't make sense. it is a Fast and the Furious sequel. It is part 7, and they do start to dive into that territory in the later movies. And I agree, Pappy. I hope that kind of gets negated somewhat in the next one. We'll see. 3.5-hour movie. I don't think it will, but hey. Last thing I got to say to you guys, and this is before, Josh, you give your yes or no here. The most important thing in life will always be the people on this Skype call. Right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Salud mi familia.
Family.
Man, very true.
Beautiful.
Very true. Hard to argue with that sentiment. Josh, we stand at 2-2.
Dang, Kylo got me teary-eyed.
One of the most divisive movies we've covered in a very, very long time already. Where do you stand?
Oh, man.
Josh.
Dramatic pause.
This movie is really tepid. And just like in my brain, like it's hard to take notes on it because like things just happen. So it's like your brain wants to be like, hey, take a quick note about how they didn't explain that they got here or whatever. But you can't do that. And I guess you just have to turn off your brain this movie. There's a quintessential scene for me, and it's when the house blows up and like Brian's shoved against the glass and it breaks in the van, and we get like a 5 or 6 second shot of Vin Diesel's face just looking like he smelled 17,000 farts. And I think it's so funny how this movie sets up, out of all these actors that are in this huge all-star cast, this movie just, every one of these in the series will set him up for 5 or 6 epic godlike one-liners. And I'm at the point in the series now where it really entertains me. And I love watching these movies knowing I'm going to be talking to you guys about it afterwards. And I don't know. I was sitting at a soft no, but I think Korey's speech went ahead and bumped me up to a soft yes.
Wow.
I meant every word.
Breaking positive, 3-2. And I will say, this is like one of my least favorite preparations, I think, in the history of spoilers.
Hard.
I hate it. I couldn't like process, like, I could process like the high level set pieces, but that was like the bridge between them. I don't know why they get from here to here at all. It was so hard to I had to watch it twice. But Mikey, I think you're gonna skew positive. You tend to on these Fast and Furious movies. I gotta make it a 4-2 yes no ratio or a 3-3 yes no ratio.
All right, take a drink before you decide.
Now, I have to preface this. Can I go pee before I give my review? I tried to drink 7 of these White Claws in honor of Paul Walker.
Yeah, go pee. Go pee.
It's not working. All right, I'm gonna go pee real quick.
Josh.
Yeah.
How much do you wish that your girl was not killed off in the last movie?
Gal?
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's weird.
I mean, she kind of moved up to your number 2, I feel like, after the last movie.
I was going to say the same thing Pappy said. Like, what's her name? Natalie Emmanuel. She just like completely replaces like her inner part. Like, why did they have to kill her off? Do you think it's just because she's more expensive?
I don't know how expensive she was back then. I mean, what was she even in before? I mean, Wonder Woman wasn't.
This was her thing back then, right? Like, this was what
had
she
to
was
be,
known
right?
for
Yeah.
before
By
Wonder
2015.
But I don't know. I don't know what else she did up until Wonder Woman.
So why'd they kill her off, Kylo?
I mean, I don't think she had a role in the group. Like, if you're going through Fast 5 and, like, Paul Walker's, like, naming off, we need a chameleon, a guy that can fit in anywhere. We need a tech guy.
She's a spy from Mossad. That's a pretty good thing to have with you.
Yeah, but they, like, layer out, they're like, we need a weapons expert or something, and that could have been anyone.
Oh, she was in Shemesh from
Doesn't she
1999.
use her sexuality at a point too? Like she seduces someone and gets into
makes Han
I mean,
jealous.
that's always useful.
Yeah.
I'm back. Okay, there are great arguments for both of it being shitty, a shitty movie, and a watchable movie.
My thesis.
And I'm going to have to go with soft yes.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I do think like we brought up some good points. Only like 1 in 5 are the only watchable movies. And Tokyo Drift is just watch with your friends and make fun of it because it's so dumb. But 7 really does not bring a lot to the table. And the plot is really, really dumb. And you're kind of just like waiting to watch in between action sequences or car sequences. So there's a lot of waiting in between because it's like 2 hours and 15 minutes. This is a really long movie. And it even felt like there wasn't that much action in it. So gotta say pretty soft, yes, because it's just for the amount of time that it takes up of your entire day and to like the amount of fun that you're having, it's not a very good ratio. So it's very soft, yes.
The Fast and Furious franchise, the Fast Saga, continues to be overwhelmingly positive on Accurate. Way more yeses, and I've only given one. Only one coming from me. But speaking of overwhelmingly positive, right before we get into our trivia, we have an iTunes review, boys. New iTunes review.
Whoa!
Yay!
Man, this fucker's username is like the worst thing for my like dyslexia. This is from HDBDHH. 5 stars. Subject. So I started listening to this pod because I needed something new to listen to. Good reason. And movie reviews are really cool. I had no idea how much I would love this podcast. They don't push ads, and they don't beg for contributors to their Patreon.
Oh, no.
It's straight to the point and an excellent podcast. Well, HBD, HH, I only have one thing to say to that. Check out patreon.com/spoilers podcast where you can request a movie. No, that's a nice iTunes review.
HDBDHH.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is cool. What a nice review to write, That's awesome.
And we'll try and read all of the iTunes reviews that we get. But one thing we do on every podcast, even if we don't have iTunes reviews, is trivia. This is going to be a classic Pappy game of farthest from, where we're going to have 4 rounds of closest to, and we're going to eliminate 1 spoiler man per round. Keeping the same order we've done all night, from most recent to least recent host, Brett, Stevie, Korey, Josh, Mikey. Brett, first to you, and everyone will answer this question, but what is the record high temperature in Fahrenheit recorded in Abu Dhabi?
To
the nearest 1/10 of a degree. I have a measurement here.
I will go 137.2.
137.2. Stevie.
Where is Abu Dhabi?
Don't answer that.
It's in the Fast and the Furious.
Is it in Dubai? I don't know.
No, those are 2 different cities.
Dude.
Don't know if I can say.
Yeah.
It's the city from the movie. There are camels.
What'd Brett say?
137.2.
That's an outlandish number. Let's go with 112.
112? Korey.
129.
Punches his ticket to the next round automatically by going in between. Josh?
I think it's just sitting we're a little bit under that. 127.
127. And Mikey, last to you.
130.
130.
I'm dead, aren't I?
For our metric friends, like Matt Troll, the hottest temperature recorded in Dubai is 52.7 degrees Celsius, which translates to 126.9 degrees Fahrenheit. Josh, you were extraordinarily close, only 1/10 of a degree off, but Stevie, unfortunately, I have you as the farthest off, 14.9 degrees.
Stevie, Abu Dhabi is in the United Arab Emirates in the Middle East.
UAE.
And Dubai is another big city in the UAE.
So they're the same thing.
Brett, you are up. According to the U.S. Air Force, a Predator system, which consists of 4 drones, costs how much?
Oh God. Let's see, in metric tons. I'm just kidding.
In Celsius dollars.
I have no friggin' idea. 4 Predator drone systems.
It's a Predator system, and then the Predator system is encompassed of 4 drones. Come with the system.
4 for 1. Not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal.
$4.1 million. I don't know.
4.10000. Okay, Korey?
$4.1 million and 1 cent.
4.1. Sorry, it's so 1,000,000.01. Nice, Josh.
Oh my gosh!
Strategic play by Kylo.
Oh, that's just. I think that's like ludicrously low. I'll say like 40 million.
You're probably right.
40?
That probably is
ludicrously
low.
000.
They should both be
And
out
Mikey.
of this round.
Yeah, I'll say like 100 million.
Yeah, I'm screwed.
Uncle Sam spares no expense on his Predator drone systems, which run at a cool $64 million. Josh, you are once again the closest, and Brett, you are the farthest by 1 penny.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
I'm starting to get pretty smart.
Incredible.
Question 3. To the nearest half hour, how long was the longest successful session of CPR? The person performed CPR for this amount of time, and the victim or the recipient of CPR lived, survived, went on to live a happy, normal life. To the nearest half hour, how long was the longest successful session of CPR? Korey, Kylo Ren memes.
4 straight hours.
4 hours. Josh?
8.5 hours, Pap.
8.5 hours, Pap. Mikey?
3 hours.
3. The longest. I think it was some hypothermia case. 6.5 hours. Josh, once again, the natural closest.
I'm getting pretty smart.
3 in a row. Unfortunately, Mikey, that means you remain on the schneid for at least another couple months, or at least until we do another movie game episode. But to decide who will be the host next week and what movie we will select, it's between Josh and Korey. According to Letterboxd, this will require math. The number of Vin Diesel movies we have done times the number of Kurt Russell movies we have done.
Oh my God.
Minus the number of Anthony Daniels movies we have done equals what? Kurt Russell movies times Vin Diesel movies minus Anthony Daniels movies. Josh, even though you've been the natural closest 3 times in a row, you have hosted more recently, so we'll ask you to set the guess.
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, wait, no, sorry, Korey. My fault.
You said according to Letterboxd? Does this have to do with Letterboxd ratings?
Letterboxd is what we use to track the movie club. Sometimes I don't always agree with whether they consider someone being in the movie or not in the movie. That's all I'll say.
Okay. Are you counting this movie?
Yes, I'll say that. Counting this movie.
Okay.
I'll go with 50.
Korey guesses 50. Josh.
Oh, man. I think I'm going to get you on this one, bud. Because I think they're all closer to like 10.
I didn't even bother to do the math. I'm like, I have no idea.
What did he say, 50?
50.
Yeah.
Just to make it a fair sport, I'll say, instead of saying 51, I'll say 60.
60. We have done
62.
Brett says 62. Any other guesses?
My actual guess is 72, but my real guess, like for the game strategically, is 60.
We have done 10 Vin Diesel movies.
Dang.
We have done 9 Kurt Russell movies, and we have done 10 Anthony Daniels movies, making that a total of 80.
Oh,
Josh, you're back in the winner circle. We'll kick it to Spoiler Man so you can decide what to pick. Take it away, Spoiler Man.
My life be like, yeah. My life be like, yeah.
Special thank you to our patrons. Matt Troll.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Brother Brian.
Salute me, familia.
Druid King.
There's always room for family.
Nick.
You don't turn your back on family.
And we're back. Josh, next week's champion, what movie will we be spoiling?
Well, I thought you had some things that you're going to talk about before you just tossed it right over to me. It's like when the waiter comes and he's like, "Can I take your order?" I thought you were going to go around the other way of the table.
All right, well, we'll start with the ladies over here. Well, what do you want to start off with tonight? Any apps for the table? No, Josh, please. It's been 2 hours. It's been 2 hours of a 2.5 hour movie. I've dedicated 7 hours of my life probably to this fucking horrible piece of shit.
Okay, I've wanted to do more of this director for a long time, and it seems like we kind of avoid them. So let's dive back in to Tarantino. I think I might know his best movie. I think he considers it his masterpiece, Inglourious Bastards.
Let's go.
So we'll do that, and I know we have another Tarantino coming up pretty soon for Patreon requests, but I don't want to spoil what that is quite yet.
Never seen it.
Nice.
What? Wow. You ever seen Inglourious Bastards?
I've seen the first hour, and it was too tense. I had to stop it, and I have never gone back and watched it.
Wow.
There you have it. Stevie, before we go, what's coming down the pipe?
Oh, yeah.
So...
Babo!
Babo! That's my Babo.
Unfortunately did... It's been an awful week for me. I did Freaky Deaky Pinocchio, the 2002 version, which was so god-awful as a punishment pick. Then I had to record this. So thank you, Brett.
You're welcome. That was fun.
Yeah. And we have tons of... I mean, we're going to be recording tons of Patreons coming up.
There we go. Thanks for listening. That was Fast and Furious Spoilers for Paul.
I really envy Paul Walker right now.
Right? Because he's...
You never had to watch this movie.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a slam on my singing.
No.
What's up?
Sup? On a
Was
Tuesday.
the director of this movie like a fill-in director?
It's James Wan.
James Wan?
Yeah.
The legendary James Wan.
Big guy, James Wan. Big Hollywood guy. Director of movies that make a lot of money, James Wan.
That guy.
He's like a James Cameron, you know?
5, 6.
It's the James thing, I guess.
Doesn't Justin Lin usually do these movies?
Yeah.
Save
normally.
it for the pod, Steve.
He said he couldn't get it done in time.
Save
He
it
couldn't
for
get
the
60. He didn't want to have to.
Save it for the pod!
Oh, whatever. I mean, I literally joined in on your conversation, but yeah, scream at me. That's cool.
I wasn't
sounds about
screaming
right.
at you. I was
Save it for the goddamn pod. What do you
sing, and no one will
I hate
let
all
me
you guys
sing.
sometimes.
Well,
I don't know
just
what crawled
tell
up
me
Pappy's
all
ass.
about it, pray when you see you again. Oh.
Now someone come in like Wiz Khalifa. Josh. Spit those bars.
Josh is not on this call.
Oh.
Brett?
He
Brett
was.
Bars? No Brett bars. No Brett talking.
I'm here. What do you want?
Spit some bars.
Spit
No,
bars,
I'm not
bro.
gonna rap. I didn't know the song.
I don't know this movie. It's 2.5 hours and it's fucking blur.
It's 2.5 hours of gobbledygook.
2.5 hours of nonstop excitement. Gets the blood
So many
flowing.
butts.
Do you know how many white long sleeve thermal shirts Vin Diesel had to go through to film this?
87.
Yes, he looked pudgy in every single scene. But
This is
that
good
doesn't
stuff.
matter.
Hijack better be rolling.
Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, I'm on the Mac.
She is.
Back on the Mac.
I'm working on Claw 3 of 7 Furious Claws.
Easy, Mikey.
For this breakdown.
All right.
Let me grab some water. Right back.
I'm trying to see if this
One.
LaCroix will last me.
One.
Man, I sound even better like when I play it back on Audacity than I do in my head.
Do ya?
What do you, huh?
I thought it was, well, no, Pep's probably going to bring it up.
Big Tuesday night pod energy. Feel it. Oh, yeah.
It should have, what a workshop, Sean Boswell's hairline.
Let me just go right into the plot, actually. So the movie opens up, and we see Letty and Dom.
All right, I'm ready.
Actually, that's not even where it opens, anyway.
Check.
No, it's not where it opens.
Check.
Brother Jordan is normally on these, right?
Check.
Doesn't Jordan usually give them all yeses?
I know he was on Too Fast, and I think he was on mine, which was Fast 5.
I don't think
He was on the first one they did. Fast 8 or whatever.
No, he picked one of them, right?
He hosted Fast 8 with his now wife.
You mean the Fate of the Eight?
Fate.
Guys,
Okay.
It's Fate of the Furious. Okay.
It's Fate of the Eight.
My life is like, ooh-wee.
That makes me so uncomfortable.
Josh, if you could go ahead and never do that again, that'd
Check.
that'd be great.
That's how I check the audio every time.
That's how you check the audio?
Is it?
Never heard that noise out of you. I don't ever want to hear it again.
Jeez.
Much like this movie, a one-off, Josh.
One time.
Oh, what does that mean, a one-off?
I don't ever want to watch this movie again.
We're all sad about Paul Walker, Stevie.
Are we?
But we can try to hold it together, you know?
I'm just curious, like, why this is significantly worse than all the other ones you gave yeses to. That I'm curious to learn about.
I don't think I gave Too Fast, Too Furious a yes.
4, you gave a yes. Everyone gave 4 a yes.
Stop pandering pre-pod. Pre-pod pandering.
I'll be right back.
Who's PPPing? Not me.
Is everything all right, Kylos?
Yeah.
Okay. Pre-pod pandering.
I mean, yeah, I still stand by my stance that Tokyo Drift is still the best one.
It's the only one people can remember from the others.
Yes. The rest are a blur.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, because it's the one that basically time travels. It introduces time travel to the franchise. Nobody knew it took place 7 years ahead.
Isn't the next one of the series 3.5 hours? It's like an hour longer than this.
Didn't you see it in theaters, Pap?
Sorry, I meant like 9.
Oh.
F9.
Is that what they're saying?
I thought it was like a 3.5 hour movie.
Are they bringing Paul Walker back?
It's been
Oh my god, it is. It's like
It's an hour longer.
Holy shit.
It's 50% longer than the movie you just watched.
Oh my god.
So we have that going for us, which is nice.
What is?
The next
F9.
F9.
You have the card? Oh, 9.
Does it have an intermission?
I guess I'll keep the claws at home.
Oh, okay.
There's like an overture and like an intermission and
F9 it says 225.
I said when
I'm
Google
on
it, it says
Google. It says
330.
323.
Yeah.
I'm just going by what is on IMDb.
That might be true.
Why is this called the extended version? But then when I found the other version, it's the same exact length.
Did you watch the extended version? Because I didn't.
I didn't.
It's the same length.
I didn't know there was.
My Blu-ray had both.
You guys get that, like the scenes at the end at the beach and stuff?
Yeah.
I think, well,
That's in the theatrical.
I think the extended version is just 10 more seconds of that blue thong ass shot. I think that's probably what you got, Josh.
There's a lot of asses.
It's the heart of the franchise.
Running time. Actually, the regular one said it was 1 second longer than the extended cut. So
1 second less of booty.
Is it called extended because that scene's longer, or is it because it extends your penis
Hey now.
to the max length?
Hey now.
All right, I'm rock hard and ready to go.
extend your penis to its max length. So technical.
That's like a scientist describing a boner.
This has been fun so far.
It's a regular
You
street
made
fight.
me laugh. Sorry for laughing at your joke.
You were laughing at me.
The thing about street fights is the street always wins.
Oh, I have a good meme for that. You know that Vin Diesel's commercial when he was playing with Street Sharks?
Mm.
The thing about Street Sharks, and then it's going to cut to the other part, the street always wins. I don't know. It'll be better once it's made.
This has been Memes for the Blind.
You kind of had to be there.
So in your mind's eye, there's a naked Lara Croft. Okay, you have a picture.
I'm ready.
Okay, I'll count down. 3, 2, 1, go.
That was spoilers.